All right, good morning, everyone. It is Monday, April 28th, 2025. The time is 10:30 a.m. Central Daylight Time, and it looks like we do have a lot to talk about today as a large-scale severe weather outbreak is expected pretty much from Wisconsin down through Texas. To begin, they did introduce a new enhanced risk across portions of Oklahoma and Texas this morning, where there is another, elevated potential of tornadoes. There's obviously the moderate risk across portions of Wisconsin, Minnesota, north central Iowa, surrounded by the enhanced risk, and then obviously the very large slight risk that is stretching once again from Michigan clear on down through Texas. And here's our hail probabilities for today. Notice that significant hatched region there, once again stretching from Wisconsin down through Texas. There's a very large 15% hail probability from Illinois to Kansas, South Dakota, Oklahoma, western Texas, excuse me, and then obviously a very large 30% risk up there, closer to the moderate and enhanced risk, and then once again there's another 30% risk down there by Oklahoma and Texas. I think hail is going to be one of the bigger issues today. I don't think damaging winds will be the main problem. I think tornadoes and hail are going to be the main issues. And here's our tornadic probabilities for today. And then once again, there's that new 10% significant hatch region they introduced this morning across western Oklahoma. And I don't want you to get too caught up in these colors. We can have strong tornadoes outside of even the 15% region. If you're in the 2% or even the 5% region, you need to pay attention to the weather. Um, Obviously, a very large 10% region up there in Wisconsin, Minnesota, Iowa, extreme northwestern Illinois, and then obviously the main concern is that 15% hatched region, where meteorologists think is going to be the focus point for tornadic supercells this afternoon and evening. And that is if storms can remain discrete. That is one of the big questions right now. A lot of times these clustering storms can prevent that significant tornado potential. And as we move into tomorrow, it doesn't look like the severe weather potential is going to be as significant. Right now, there is an enhanced risk of severe weather from New York down through Ohio, where I do think there's going to be a more elevated tornado potential as it is closer to the surface low. Um, if you're in places like Texas, down through Oklahoma, Arkansas, I don't think your tornado potential is going to be as high, just because you're going to be so far away from that surface low. Although I do think in that slight risk, there still will be a potential for damaging winds, maybe some large hail here and there. Overall, not looking like a significant threat, but definitely something to pay attention to. So here's this morning. Right now, we got a 992 millibar surface low sitting up there by South Dakota. Look at those isobars that are tight. Even if you're not going to have a storm today, you're definitely going to have some gusty winds across portions of the upper Midwest, Mississippi Valley. Um, Storms really probably will not get going until this evening here. Notice this convection firing along this cold front here, pretty much from Wisconsin down through Texas. As we move into the overnight hours, this obviously is going to shift off to the east, and then into tomorrow morning. This will probably move into areas like Indiana, central Illinois, Missouri, Oklahoma, where I don't think it's going to be as significant. There might be a few warnings here and there for large hail damaging winds, but this risk should um, decrease as it moves off to the east. And then once again, there's going to be that tornado potential up there in New York, Pennsylvania, and Ohio, where that enhanced risk is in play. And you can see these storms stretching across the central U.S. Um, this storm system is going to take a while to get out of here, but once it does start to move out of here, notice the GFS is starting to show another surface low moving into the central U.S. Towards the latter half of the week. That's something we still need to watch right now. Um, it's pretty far out, but things can change. It's just something you want to watch. But other than that, there's not a whole lot going on. Here's our risk again for today. If you're in any of these areas, just make sure you have a way to get watches watch this warnings, have that weather radio ready to go. Pay attention to your local news stations. And other than that, that's pretty much all I got, guys. Thank you guys for watching. I probably will have another video uploaded tomorrow. We'll have to see how things play out, but thank you guys for watching.